Hello, superstars. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and it might be good night depending on what part of the world and at what time you're seeing this broadcast. Uriel Ezeagwu here. I'm the CVO, the Chief Visionary Officer and founder of Wealth Hub. I'm a mindset development coach and mentor. Right here, it's been a very intriguing journey looking at the concept of wealth creation and sharing the principles that I've learned over the years that has really, helped me to become successful and has taken me from the darkness of poverty, to the light of wealth. Given my background, given the fact that my father was a poor farmer, from a village called Idumuuku in Umolo village, AZ town, somewhere in Aniocha North local government area of Delta State. Now, given that the fact of that I come from that form of obscurity and being able, through this concept and these principles that I've learned over the years to be able to elevate by the grace of God myself from where I used to be to where I am now and on the way to where I need to be without any government patronage. All right. I have a passion for my nation, Nigeria. Our mindset has been distorted to believe that except you have something to do with the government, you can create wealth. Absolutely nothing. Not right. Let me tell you something. My favorite book puts it this way. It says, as an ostrich that sitteth on eggs and hasheth it not, so is he that getteth wealth and not by right. He shall leave it in the midst of his days, and at his end he shall be a fool. Have you ever read that? That's my favorite book. All right? Now listen. The wisdom to sustain any wealth is found in the process that created that wealth. If you were not in the process that creates your wealth, I don't care how much is bequeathed to you, you're going to go broke. Have you ever wondered what happened to Abiola Farms, Abiola Bookshop, Concord Airlines, Abiola Babes? What happened to that conglomerate? The wisdom to sustain any wealth is found in the process that created the wealth. If you're not in the process that creates your wealth, trust me, your children are going to squander it. So, I pity the so-called Nigerian big men, that their children are everywhere just, flexing with the money. The children don't know the process that created the wealth. Just give them a few years after their parents or their father or their benefactor passes on, that wealth is gone. I take that again. As an ostrich that sitteth on egg and hasheth it not, so is he that getteth wealth and not by right. He shall leave it in the midst of his days, and at his end he shall be a fool. And we said the wisdom to create any wealth is found in the process. If you're not in the process that creates your wealth, you will not be able to sustain it. A typical case in point is the Nigerian politicians. Someone is broke and busted. He gets elected into an office in Nigeria, where I come from, or he's appointed to be a federal minister, a commissioner. Just give the gentleman or the lady a few months, he's a multi-billionaire. Have you ever wondered why a few months or a few years after these people who steal so much from the country, the Nigerian politicians, see, let's put it this way. In our other episode, we said wealth is not created by default. Wealth is deliberate. The only set of persons who become wealthy by default, they are called Nigerian politicians. Those are the only people who become wealthy by default. And you will see the law of process coming into effect in their lives. Have you ever noticed that a few years after these people leave office, they go broke? With all the money that they stole, with all the money that they embezzled, just a few years down the line, they go broke. Why? They were not in the process that created the wealth. So they lack the wisdom to sustain that wealth. the wisdom to sustain any wealth. So process is very, very pivotal and very, very important in the concept of wealth creation. Now, you see, the challenge really is not becoming wealthy. Anyone can become wealthy. The challenge is remaining wealthy. That is the challenge. The only thing that helps you after you've created wealth to sustain the wealth is the wisdom you learned in the process of creating your wealth. So it becomes essential that you are a pivotal part of the process that created the wealth that you are now, brandishing everywhere. If you're not a part of that process, you will not be able to sustain it. Take a census. Just look around the country. Nigerian is my case in point. Look at parents that were very wealthy and they amass incredible wealth and they pass it on to their children. While they were building the wealth, their children were not in the process. Their children, were driving flashy cars, enjoying themselves, grooving everywhere. A few years after the parents are gone, the wealth is gone. You see, these principles cannot be broken. The wisdom to sustain any wealth is found in the process that created the world. Going back to my favorite book again. Now, you see, wealth, we said, is not created by default. Wealth is deliberate. If you must be wealthy, there are certain DMDs. There are certain DMDs you must observe. What are DMDs? Daily must do's. Daily must do's. There are certain things you must do on a daily basis, on a consistent basis. There are things you must do. All right? There are things you must do. Wealth is not created by default. Anyone can be wealthy. Yes, 100%. But it's not everyone that can sustain the wealth that they create. You must learn certain fundamental principles and laws that will allow you to be able to sustain the wealth that you've created over a long period of time, be able to build up that wealth, to pass it over as inheritance to your children's children, and being confident that you have taught your children and your children's children, they will be able to sustain the wealth in their own generation. My favorite book puts it this way. It says, "For I know Abraham, he will teach his children to follow after me." So have you taught your children to follow after you? Have you taught your children the principles, the guidelines, how you got to where you are? What brought you here? Or are they just sitting and you're working so hard for them? You're going to hand over to them. I'm telling you, that wealth will not last a generation after you. So it's pivotal, very, very important, that as we look at the concept of wealth creation and because wealth education right now is the most important and the most valuable education. Wealth education right now, most important, most valuable. All right. So superstars on the call, with that being said, are excited. Euriel Ezeagwu here, mindset development coach and mentor, the chief visionary officer and founder of Wealth Hub. We will be looking in depth once again on this concept. See, anyone can be wealthy. Absolutely anyone can be wealthy. The same way anyone can gain admission to the university, study law, goes to law school, write the bar exam, passes, is called to bar, and he becomes a lawyer. The same way anyone can learn the principles that govern the wealth, to govern wealth creation, apply those principles, and can be wealthy. I look forward to seeing you on our next series. I'm telling you, our next session is going to be breathtaking as we look deeper into this concept, because the only reason why people are broke is the information they don't have. If you get the right information, you can walk from the darkness of poverty to the lamplight of abundance. See you on our next sessions. Have a great day.